NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
60 minutes of local, regional, and touring series interviews, news, and opinion. Now, a couple of guys who think they'd make a great boy band. Kyle, Ricky, and Buddy Long.
Solomito derails the Kobe Express in Thompson. Rev Racing is racing for a cause this weekend in Bristol, and there's a new team in NASCAR's K&N Pro Series East with some familiar names in the driver's seats. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, April 13th, 2016. Kyle Ricky, joined by Buddy Long, back from the Thompson International Speedway.
Oh, you did that
Thompson
already.
Speedway Motorsports Park.
You were up there all weekend long. You probably heard that a bazillion times on the PA system, and you saw it on signs. How come it's so hard to break you of that habit?
Because after 14 years of Thompson International Speedway, it's hard. But Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, a great icebreaker weekend for the NASCAR Wheel and Modifieds. And when we talked about it 2 weeks ago on the show with Jeff Fuller, there's just nothing like, Sunday 28 modified tour cars taking the green flag down that long Thompson front stretch. And it was just as amazing on Sunday as it has been in years past.
I bet. Seems like it's been forever since the modifieds were last running late last year. It just seems like it's taken forever to get to this point. But a lot of good social media pics that you put on there. And one of the most impressive ones I like is the garage area.
Yeah.
That looks so cool to see modifieds just sitting in the garage area getting ready for their practice sessions or qualifying or whatnot. I mean, things just look so professional up there.
And I had not been to the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park since the renaming of the facility 2 years ago. And last time I was there, it was just the garage area with the stalls. The building hadn't really been done yet. Now they have bathrooms. They have a pro shop. They have a classroom where they conduct the drivers' meetings and press conferences. It's an amazing facility now. And
it looks like it was a great start to the weekend. Didn't sound like the attrition rate was high at all when you look at the top 10 and the eventual rundown, because all the heavyweights were right up there in the thick of the battle.
It was a great battle for the lead for most of the event. Ryan Preece got out front during the first long green flag run, and we're like, okay, this might be over because he's getting up to like the 12th place car to lap him. And caution came out, had a couple of mid-race cautions, and the battle for the lead when Justin Bonsignore got off of pit road first, took the lead, went back and forth with Ryan. Ronnie Silk was up there, and then ultimately Timmy Solomito, but it was like 4 or 5 cars just back and forth for the better part of 10 or 15 laps after the restart. It was fun to watch.
And it's a great start to a brand-new season on the Wheel and Modified Tour. A lot of changes that were made in the off-season, and Timmy's such a good guy. I mean, bad things happen to good people sometimes, as you've heard that adage, but good things happen to good people as well. And this is a driver that clearly has paid his dues, come up through the ranks, earned his stripes at Riverhead Raceway, one of the toughest bull rings to earn on modified racing. Went through the ranks with Wayne.
Yep, Wayne Anderson.
Wayne Anderson. I couldn't think of the last name. My gosh, that's what age gets you. But and earned the right just a year or so ago to get in a Flamingo Motorsports ride, a ride that's got some good championship lineage with Mike Stefanik and Ryan Preece, and so good to see that. It's just so very good. Just a great start.
And he'll be on the show here in just a little bit. You saw the top 10 just a moment ago. Ryan Preece coming home in the second spot, but it wasn't even close. I thought when Timmy passed Ryan would be able to hang with him, and he did for a couple of laps, but Timmy just slowly tiptoed away, picked his way through some lap traffic, and won by almost a straightaway.
It sounded like it was a complete effort between on track and even in the pits, because it sounded like he gained about 4 spots during the pit stop to keep back out. So, I mean, key all the way around between his crew and he on the track. It sounds like it was just a complete day for the guys.
Justin Bonsignore finished in third, also had a good pit stop, but he got up in the top 5. Doug Kobe was really quiet most of the day, looking for 5 in a row, of course, sweeping the first 4 races there last year. Came up short, never really contended for the lead all day. There was one time on a restart, he stuck his nose in 3 wide and had to back off because it would have been a bad situation if he hadn't. And never really was a factor. But, was in the top 5, but never really challenged for that top spot.
And I'll give him a lot of credit. I mean, as a champion, obviously the bullseye's on you, the spotlight's on you. I mean, between the drivers, the fans, the media, everybody's watching every move you make. And to see one of the social media posts that Doug did about Timmy Solomito, what a great kid he was, so very deserving of the victory. Great accolades out to Timmy. And that's a class act from a true champion. And that's a good job by Doug Kobe.
Absolutely. And so Timmy will join us on the show in a little bit. One more quick thing about Thompson. Great crowd. Wasn't quite a full house like we see at the World Series in October, but it was pretty darn close. The track management, Josh Veneta and his crew, did a great job of getting all the qualifying heats in and the features in. 13 divisions, I believe, 12 or 13 divisions.
Busy weekend.
In total, and I think he said just about 205 race cars.
Wow,
so
that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. They got it all in. Mother Nature was not a factor.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good because in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic region, obviously there was some weather issues that did knock out some facilities that pretty much canceled in advance of knowing that the weekend weather was really going to be, and for lack of the better word, raunchy. I mean, it was going to be downright cold, blustery winds, snow showers, and some tracks did say, you know what, we're not even going to bring our fans out into this. So I was thinking about you up in Connecticut thinking, that's a little bit north of where I'm at, and it's going to be a little bit chilly up there as well. But good to hear the end result. I know,
supposed to be cold.
And you got the diehards that will come out, and I would be too.
Also joining us on the show today, Chad Finchum, a brand new team for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, at least full-time. They debuted last year with Chad for, I believe, a race or two, but coming on strong this year, and Chad will be behind the wheel. Hal Martin and Eric McClure are the owners of that team, and his teammate will be Caleb Holman this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So Chad will be with us a little bit to talk about the brand new team that they're putting together.
Yeah, a lot of good ingredients when you look at that all the way around from top to bottom, the ownership, the sponsor, the drivers, everything. Very good. And, of course, Caleb's got a lot of laps there on the racetrack. Eric obviously does. Hal, of course, has done some Xfinity Series racing. So Chad, in his own right, obviously a very good late model driver in the past. Should be a good combination. Look forward to seeing another very good car on that K&N Series, which is already full of parity this year so far.
30 cars on the entry list. Group qualifying on Friday night for the first time, so it's going to be a very interesting weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So we'll talk to Chad about that coming up in a little bit. Also joining us on the show, I'll just say the easy way, J.A. Jr. from Rev Racing, one of the new young stars of the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. He's already in the studio, in the house here, and he'll be joining us on set here shortly. A good young kid promoting a great cause this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we saw him a few weeks ago at Greenville Pickens Speedway, just the energy that comes out of J.A., just, it spreads into the rest of the pit area. You can't help but love the kid. Even if you're a fierce competitor of his, he just brings such an energy and a positive influence into that pit area, and it's so cool just to watch him work the pits, just to look at the fire in his eyes, the excitement, and just the high energy that he brings not only to the Rev Racing program, but to the K&N Pro Series East as well.
And we will introduce you to J.A. Jr. coming up here in a little bit. Jairo Avila is his correct pronunciation. I think it's the correct. Okay, he says it's correct. Okay, there we go. Obviously, this weekend, April is Autism Awareness Month, and they'll be working with the Autism Society of East Tennessee this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and they have some really cool programs surrounding the race weekend with those folks, and we'll talk to him about that coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, always cool to see the cars when they go to Bristol, and for Jairo, just like so many other drivers that are on this entry list, it's going to be their first view at Bristol Motor Speedway, including Todd Gilliland, who is going to be trying to break that record of the NASCAR K&N competition, and he's going to have a tough draw to try and see if he can pick up his 5th consecutive K&N victory. I mean, there's no track that compares to Bristol, east or west, so a lot of drivers are relying on notes from other teams or advice from, say, a David Gilliland, the dad, that's a Sprint Cup Series driver and has a lot of laps around that racetrack, so it's going to be fun to watch how these kids work themselves around the high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway.
And that race, of course, is Saturday night following the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Bristol. There was some other racing this weekend. We talked about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour up north, the Southern Tour. They were in action this weekend as well at the South Boston Speedway for the South Boston 150 and for the second week in a row. GB3 take down the win. George Brunholz with a third, holding off Burt Myers, Andy Seiss. Kyle Bonsignor, after some tough luck at the Concord Speedway 2 weeks ago, was able to rebound with the top 5. Danny Bone rounding out the top 5 in the 5th spot.
Yeah, Burt Myers with that second-place run maintains the point lead by only 1 digit, but his consistency has paid off so far this year. South Boston, good call for them. They knew the weather was going to be bad or actually going to be very cold on Saturday night down in Danville, South Boston area, so they elevated the program up to earlier in the day, ran the modifieds. Actually, Austin Thaxton and Matt Bowling came away with the late model stock twin wins their Saturday as well. So they were able to get their whole program in. They were one of few racetracks for a Saturday night track that were able to complete their program and get everything done.
There was a bunch of tracks affected by weather. All-American Speedway in California, Orange Show Speedway in California, Caraway Speedway here. They'll be back in action, by the way, this weekend with the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modifieds. Columbus Motor Speedway in Ohio, Grandview Speedway in Pennsylvania, Lonesome Pine Speedway in Virginia, and Dominion Speedway, the new track here. All affected by weather. I think I got them all 7 in total. So
yeah, there were a few tracks. I mean, even on the dirt side and non-NASCAR sanctioned tracks that were already calling their programs back on Wednesday or Thursday, knowing the weather was going to be bad on Saturday. Even if it didn't have precipitation, it was going to be extremely cold, temperatures down in the high 20s, and a lot of gusty winds. So I think, for a track like Dominion, you want your first impression to be a very good one. Whether you've been there for 50 years or whether it's your first year, you want to make sure that it's a good opening, and I think that was a great call. Even though it may not have been rainy like they anticipated, it was going to be brutally cold, and that's not a good way to start.
And they'll try it again this weekend, along with 15 other tracks that have season openers scheduled this weekend. More on that in a little bit, but when we come back, we're going to talk the newest winner of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour this past weekend at the Thompson Speedway. Timmy Solomito joins us after the break here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
O'Reilly.
If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you haven't checked out MRN.com's exclusive online programming, you've missed a lot. MRN Motorsports Monday. Review and preview the NASCAR weekends. Wings Nation talk Wings Sprint Cars. The latest from the NHRA. On the straight line. Dirt, late model, modified, and big block modified talk. Slinging dirt. NASCAR Regional, Local, and International Series on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Exclusive original online motorsports talk on MRN.com.
Stay up to date with the latest news from the NASCAR Garage weekdays on NASCAR Today, midday.
We can enhance the fans' experience, and I think that's what we really need to zero in on and provide.
Hear from the drivers and teams as they chase the 2016 championship trophy.
Change is good in our sport. It re-energizes people, makes everybody, step up to the plate, so to speak.
NASCAR Today, midday, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network, your source for NASCAR news.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Harrison Burton, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Real quick, we want to ask you for your help and in exchange give you a chance to win your own Google Chromecast. In an effort to give you the kind of web programming you want, we're asking for you to take an online survey at www.mylistenerstudy.com. The survey is completely anonymous and will help us give you more of what you like. And don't forget to enter for that Google Chromecast. Again, that's mylistenerstudy.com. We really appreciate your feedback, and good luck in entering for that Google Chromecast.
I got an email already. Awesome. Somebody already emailed me or on my phone while you were reading that.
Yeah?
It's saying, we would like to hear Kyle Rickey call Thompson the right track. Pronounce it by the right name.
Thompson Speedway
They were ticked.
Motorsports Park.
They were ticked. My phone was jumping off the counter.
Well,
I'm kidding.
We'll get it. I want to talk to the winner of the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park Icebreaker this past weekend. First career win in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in his 36th series start. Timmy Solomito joins us on the guest line. Timmy, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on finally picking up that first win in the Modifieds.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on, and what an incredible day. It was a great feeling, and very happy that it got to come at Thompson Motor Speedway. That's a great track, and those guys do a great job up there, and it's a premier facility. So really happy that that was the first one for us.
Well, and you were on a roll late last season with a couple of third-place finishes, and I'm sure you're one of the drivers that didn't want to see the season come to an end last year. Do you feel like you guys were just so close to that first victory late last year?
Yeah, as the year went on, our cars got stronger and stronger, and we started to come together more and more as a team. So it was a long winter, but I was itching the whole time to get back out there, and I knew the guys were going to give me a good piece to start the season off, and just really happy to get it out of the way early and get a win for those guys. They worked so hard on that car up there at Flamingo Motorsports, and to come out of the gate like this and have a really strong run, it really means a lot and boosts everybody's morale and gets the team going. So what we needed, and hopefully we can just carry the momentum and keep right on going where we left off Sunday afternoon.
Everybody hit pit road on Sunday just after halfway. I believe it was around lap 80 when the caution flag came out. How crucial was that pit stop for you gaining some track position, and how close were you on fuel, or did you know that you were that close on fuel? Because I believe you ran out on the victory lap.
Yeah, like I said in all my posts and some of the radio interviews already, it was really a team effort. The guys worked so hard on the car, and the pit stop was flawless. Those guys practice twice, 3 times a week sometimes to get those pit stops right. And to have a team that you can come in and pick up 3-4 spots on pit road, that's huge. When you don't have to, pass a guy on the racetrack and run as hard as you have to pass them, and you get to save it and you can pass them on pit road, that really makes a difference. So it was really a team effort, and the guys did a great job. And before the race, me and Sly were talking about the fuel, and we knew we were going to be close, but we just did the best we could, and it worked out. Somebody was watching over us. We crossed the start-finish line, and actually it ran out right off the turn 2 there. So if we had another restart or another lap, we would have been done for. But, everything worked out. All the stars aligned, and sometimes you get those days. They don't come too often, but they did this Sunday for us, and we can't be more happy for everybody on the team and everybody included in that 16 car.
Yeah, and when you look at the end result of the weekend's races, and I was mentioning to Kyle at the beginning, the attrition rate was little to none. All the heavyweights were right up there, including you having to getting back around former champion Ryan Preece, a driver that won a championship in the car with the team that you're in right now. How gratifying is it not just to get that first victory, but to continue the tradition with a team that that has seen championships, to get around a driver that won that championship and to know that you beat everybody the right way, everybody's lined up behind you trying to chase you down?
Yeah, that's huge. We wanted to win one so bad. From when this deal started, so to go out there and actually to beat the guys that have been winning races and running up front, that's a great feeling. It's one thing to win a race if they crashed out in it or anything, but or they had a bad day, but we got to pass those guys, and that's what made this win that much more special for our team and for me as a driver. As a first career win, you always want to beat the best of the best, and we were able to do that on Sunday, and that was because of a team effort. And they did a great job on the car. They had that thing hooked up and, made my job a lot easier. I just held the steering wheel and got all the credit for it. But they worked really hard on that car, and just can't say enough about the team and Eric Sanderson and the guys. Eric gives us the best of the best and whatever we need to go win races. And that's what you need as an owner, and just really happy that we could finally get him a win after a year without one.
How easier or was there less pressure during this off-season going into year number 2 at Flamingo Motorsports in the 16 team versus last year, going from Wayne Anderson's ride 2 years ago over to Flamingo and taking one of the most prestigious seats on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour?
Yeah, there's always pressure as a driver. You always want to go out there and win races and run up front, and when I left the 75 car and went over to the 16 and they've won so many races and have done so well. There's always pressure. There's always added pressure. You always go out there and do good. So, to get out there and finally get that done feels great. Get that off our chest and we get to move forward from here. So, it was a little nerve-wracking, but definitely it seems like there's less stress this year, and we can go out there and focus on, hopefully winning more races and running up front.
6th in points one season ago. Right out of the gate, you gained your first victory. But we talked about how things started to gel late last season. Is that 6th-place finish in points really indicative of how good that team was late last year? I got to believe that you feel like that team was even better than a 6th-place run, given the late-season success.
Yeah, certainly. We came out of the gate last year running really strong. We had a 6th at Thompson and had some good runs early on, and then we kind of struggled a little bit mid-year, and then towards the end of the year, we really picked it back up. So at the end of the year, I felt like we were capable of competing for a championship and running up front. And that's the plan for this year. We want to try and run up front as much as possible and win as much as we can and run smart. Winning a championship sometimes isn't always winning the most races, but it's to be consistent and have a really good car. And I feel like the guys at the 16 team, Sly and all them, and Jerry and Brian Ross and the great guys that give us a hand over there, I feel like we can we can achieve that this year as long as we all keep our heads down and we keep digging as hard as we can and putting all the notes in the notebook that we need. So, I really feel like it's something that we can do, and really hoping that we can have some really strong runs here to continue on.
Heard your post-race interview on the PA on Sunday afternoon when you got out of the race car, and then have since watched a few of your post-race interviews online, and you keep mentioning how special it was and is to win at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Why is that track so special to you?
That's where I got my first tour start. I ran my family car there in a Southern race, and then shortly thereafter I got a phone call from Eddie Whalen to drive one of his cars there at the end of the year. And Thompson's always been special to me. I grew up on a quarter mile. You're off and on the gas really fast. Things happen really quick. So when you get to a track like Thompson and you can hold that gas pedal down and drive off on the banking there into the turn and the G-forces and the speed that you carry and the two-groove racing that you got there with the outside groove and whatnot, Thompson's always been special to me. I've always sat in the stands and said to my dad that I wanted to make that right-hand turn and pull up into victory lane, and to be able to do that on Sunday was an incredible feeling. You get pushed. Well, we got pushed past the fans, but to hear them screaming and yelling and clapping, and just everything was just so awesome. It was just a great weekend, and definitely one that I won't forget.
Well, indeed, and obviously it made me a very proud person knowing that I got to see it a very early part of your racing career in karting, as well as Justin Bonsignor, and to see the two of you guys up there doing so well. Now you shift gears very quickly to another track that obviously you guys are very familiar with and will go to quite often this year, being Stafford Motor Speedway. A couple of weekends for the Spring Sizzler. Your thoughts on Stafford for you for last year, and what are you looking to do to make it better, or what can you do to make it better based off of your finishes from last year there?
When we first started going to Stafford, when I drove for Wayne, I seemed to struggle a little bit as a driver. That's a track that's not very forgiving. You got to really hit your marks. You got to race the track, but you got to race your competition as well. And last year, I felt like we definitely improved on that. And between some help of Sly and the team and other drivers that I've talked to, I've certainly seemed to pick it up there a lot better than we were in the beginning. So we had 2/3 there last season, so we're looking to improve on that by 2 spots hopefully, and feel like I got the car and the team to be able to do that. So just got to go there and hit our marks and stay focused and give them good feedback and hopefully just make the car as fast as we possibly can and just go from there. Just race a smart race, and hopefully we'll come away with a really strong run there as well.
How much do you notice the extra 50 laps? Obviously, the Spring Sizzler 200 laps, the other events at Stafford between 125 and 150. How much does those extra 50 change an event at Stafford?
It actually, quite a bit. In the beginning, it seems like such a long race, but in the beginning you're kind of just riding and you just got to know who you're around and who you can race and who to give up some positions to if you have to. The better you can do at saving the car and not beating up your equipment in the beginning, the better you'll be at the end. So, you just got to race really smart, especially with that extra 50 laps. And, there's going to be some fuel mileage involved now and whatnot. We're going to be pitting for fuel. So, it definitely makes it a different race. And, you're definitely going to have to think a little bit more about what you got to do to be in the winner's circle at the end. So, we're just going to try and play it as smart as we possibly can and just hopefully put all the pieces of the puzzle together and have another strong run. It's been great to enjoy the glory of winning Thompson, but it's starting to become time to focus on Stafford, what we need to do to go out there and have a good run.
Yeah, it goes by so quickly. All right, you've conquered Thompson. You know what you need to do with Stafford. Riverhead, obviously, is a track you know very well. You've got Oswego and Seekonk on the schedule this year. What other tracks, taking Oswego and Seekonk back out of the equation for the moment, what other tracks last year are you looking forward to going back to, saying, okay, we didn't hit this combination right here or there? What track or where do you really want to concentrate on improving in areas you felt like you fell down a little bit or just slipped just slightly?
Certainly New Hampshire. We've had such a strong run there in the beginning of the races, and I just haven't been able to hit the end of the race as good as we are at the beginning. So I feel if we can sit down and come up with a plan for the end of the race there and be able to use the draft to our advantage and put everything together there, I feel like we could have a really strong run and possibly contend for the win there. You know, and New Hampshire is definitely probably one of my favorite tracks that we go to. It's just an incredible feeling to get that draft and you're pushing each other around the track and the slingshots and whatnot. You know, it's definitely the most exciting place we go to. So looking forward to getting back there twice this year and hoping to have a really strong run. And Freddie Kraft usually does my radioing at the NASCAR event. So he grew up with me throughout Riverhead and taught me a lot of what I know now, and hopefully would like to pull away with a victory there with him on the radio. That would be a really cool moment.
And the first weekend in New Hampshire will be July 15th and 16th, part of an all-star event on the 15th, and then the points event on the 16th, and then they're back again in September for the NASCAR weekend. Timmy, again, congratulations on the win. As always, thank you for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Good to see you over the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you up the road here shortly at another modified event.
Most certainly. Thanks for having me on, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, Timmy Solomito joining us, winner of the Icebreaker at the Thompson Speedway, part of a huge family of racers. Obviously, his brothers Jerry and Sean race. Their wives raced. Chrissy, I remember watching go-karts years ago, and Erin races a truck at Riverhead. So it's a huge family, and they're all behind the wheel, it seems like.
Yeah, they are, and they've been a great family to grow up with through the pavement years of karting with that family, the Bonsignor family. I look at Craig Lutz, who's now in the field. Yep. We mentioned Chase Dowling, another driver that's ran for Rookie of the Year honors and won that last year. So many pavement series drivers from karting that have now, they still live in that area. They've climbed up to that rank, and it's just so fun to watch them progress and do so well. And Timmy's just such a cool guy. He was so cool. When we went to Riverhead for a pavement race several years ago, I mean, I don't know if he raced or not, Solomito family was operating it for us, and they just, anything you need, what can we do to help? I mean, they're a great family, and they bleed racing.
And he's the point leader going to Stafford in just a couple of weeks from now for this Sizzler. When we come back, we shift gears to the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East and Chad Finchum.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Does your heart race for great taste? For a limited time, get 20% off Creekstone Farms premium St. Louis-style all-natural Duroc pork ribs. Choose between 4 or 8 fall-off-the-bone rack of ribs and get up to $30 in savings. Just place your order at creekstonefarms.com before April 30th using the promo code MRN20RIBS. That's MRN20RIBS. Enjoy the juiciest premium quality beef and pork products. Visit creekstonefarms.com today.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Where can you find MRN-affiliated radio stations? Go to stationsonmrn.com to find your local station or stations that stream MRN's race broadcasts and programs. That's stations at MRN.com. MRN.com's Pod Tracks, a daily podcast that takes you in-depth into the world of NASCAR. Go beyond the headlines for the latest NASCAR stories. Pod Tracks, available in the Media Center at MRN.com or subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. This is NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Here's Kyle and Buddy.
Now, we talked about the huge entry list for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway. They run on Saturday night for 125 laps, and a driver that'll be in the field, part of one of the newer teams on the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East schedule, is Martin McClure Racing. And Chad Finchum will be behind the wheel of one of their two cars this weekend. He joins us now on the guest line. Chad, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on a fairly new opportunity. I know you raced a couple of events for the team last year, and you're back with them again for, a select schedule for 2016.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to sit and talk. Last year Eric and Hal, come up with an idea that they were going to do a K&N team, and here I am just trying to make it, running the NASCAR Wheeling Series at our local tracks like a Kingsport Speedway and whatnot. We've had great success at that level, and I'd been kind of waiting for, I guess what you might call it, the break. And Eric approached me. I was walking around the pit area at Kentucky Motor Speedway in 2014, and Eric approached me and said, "Hey, this is kind of what I want to do, and I want you to be a part of it." And from there on, I got his contact information. We stayed in touch, and one thing led to another. And last year, we started, 2 races, one at Iowa and one at Dover, and showed really good speed and potential, but the mechanical issues, came into play at Dover. We had an engine blown running 7th with about 20 to go. So hopefully we don't have no problems this year, but I'm excited. I mean, it's a new team, but there's a lot of history there with who all is going to be a part of it, with Eric and the Hendersons. Caleb Holman's going to be driving the secondary car at Bristol. And, Chris Cater is going to be the crew chief. A lot of names that's been in the sport for a while, so I'm excited to get to work with the guys.
A lot of names and a lot of good notes that you possibly can work off of. Obviously, Caleb has run the Camping World Truck Series for Charlie Henderson a number of times there. That team has got some very good Bristol notes. Eric, no stranger to the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Bristol Motor Speedway. Hal Martin's had time behind the wheel. So you've not only started pretty much a new team with a couple races last year, but a team with a lot of good notes and a lot of good history that should give you a pretty good jump start going to Bristol this weekend, I would imagine.
Exactly. I've been there a few times in prior races. This is going to be my 4th trip to Bristol in the K&N Series. So, I have a few background things myself with Caleb being, in the Truck Series, Eric coming, and Hal, too, coming from the Xfinity Series and having multiple laps laid down there. Chris Carrier, been on multiple teams, different cars, ran really good at Bristol in the past. So there's a lot of information there that, if for whatever reason, if there's any question, of what I'm doing driver-wise, car-wise, there's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge that I could lean on for information. And I think that's going to be key, especially in the K&N Series. We only get 2 45-minute rounds of practice, and we go straight into qualifying with only a 10-minute break after the second practice. So, and with this car being brand new that we're going to be unloading with and never having track time, I know coming from the late model world, when we build a new car and go with the late model, we always go up like in the off season and we'll test and shake it down and work the bugs out of it. So, you always have that fear, I guess you might say, in the back of your head, like what could we run into with a new car, all the wiring being new, so did somebody hook something up wrong? But I have faith in everybody. There's a lot of experience. These guys do it, week in and week out. So I'm just going to get behind the wheel and do my job, and I guess let the rest take care of itself.
A very compressed schedule this weekend for the K&N Series. In years past, they have done their practicing and qualifying on Thursday, and then Friday was pretty much a dead day at the racetrack for those teams, and then they come back and run on Saturday. Your thoughts about the compressed schedule? Friday, 2 practice sessions. After all the NASCAR Sprint Cup and Xfinity Series activity is complete, you go right into qualifying, and for the first time, group qualifying or open qualifying, where you'll have 5 minutes to get on the racetrack and put a fast lap down.
That's right. And as far as the group qualifying goes, I'm not a stranger to that. We've done that a lot in qualifying at Martinsville in the late models. They always done group qualifying. A lot of the legend car stuff, and even like back when I raced go-karts in my early, career setting, there was a lot of group qualifying. So I'm not a stranger to that, and I kind of like that because as a driver, when you're sitting on the end of pit road getting ready to go, and the official gives you that flag, says, "All right, roll out," you've got 3 laps, to get it done as best as you can. And with the 5 minutes on the board, you have a little bit more time to sit and get in rhythm. And sometimes, like when we mock up in practice, sometimes maybe your 4th or 5th lap is even your fastest lap. So, I like it. I really do. And another thing is, in years past, we would practice and qualify on Thursdays, have the whole day Friday to ourselves, and then, doing nothing on track. And then Saturday, we would race after the Xfinity. So we would go up and practice and qualify on a completely green track with no rubber laid down. We were the first cars there. So we dialed our car in on a green track with K&N tire compound rubber. And then you show back up to the track Saturday with no adjustments because the cars are impounded, and you unload and you anticipate that same feel when you get back down in the car. And when you get out there, you know, the Cup practice rubber is laid down in the tire compound they use. And same with Xfinity after, you know, coming off of like a 200, 250 lap race they do. So it really changes the handling characteristics. So I think it's going to be a little bit more consistent for us as teams and drivers to be able to practice after the Xfinity Series does their thing on Friday. I think it's going to be it's going to keep the cars handling more consistent because we're going to be practicing on their rubber that's already been laid down. And I like that too.
And when I look at the entry blank or the entry list, we've got 30 drivers, yourself and Caleb included. I look at a lot of brand new faces, obviously, that have never run Bristol Motor Speedway before. The teams, a lot of the teams may have notes from previous years for drivers that did well. Kyle Benjamin, the defending champion, is there, but he's with a new team. I have teams that have notes, but if I'm Chad Finchum and I'm looking at who I've got surrounding me with regards to this team, I give myself just as much of an opportunity to park that car in victory lane as well as Caleb as anyone else on this list, because there's a lot of drivers that have a lot of learning to do in a very quick period of time.
And that's key. I mean, really, when you look at the K&N Series and you see, okay, we start practicing at 6 o'clock and we go from 6 to 6:45, we get a 15-minute break and we do our second round from 7 to 7:45, and then another 15-minute break and go straight into qualifying. And you look at that, and as a driver, you're like, oh my gosh. You're like, you know, when you unload off the truck, it's really there's always a saying that we use in the late model days, you know, kind of you win your races at the shop, not at the track. And I think that's really still the case, because when you unload off that truck, if you can go to top 5, top 10 in the fast times, and you can just tweak the car to finesse it, you know, to the driver's liking, you know, I think that's going to be more key than you know, changing springs and this and that, having the car up on jack stands most of the practice. You know, what you brought to the track isn't working. So, you know, as a driver standpoint and me being there and having track time, you know, I do look at that as an advantage because I've been on that track. I have very good people, you know, on the team to rely on information, especially Caleb. You know, so I have a lot of confidence. We go to win and try our hardest, and you know, racing is a big mystery sometimes. So the outcome can really vary, but we're going with a head of confidence.
It's going to be fun to watch on Saturday night. The Pit Light 125 for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East at the Bristol Motor Speedway, 30 cars strong, and Chad will be a part of the field when they do go green. Best of luck to you this weekend. We'll see you at the racetrack in a couple of days, and thanks for taking time to join us here this afternoon.
I appreciate you for calling me, and if you all ever want to do any more, I would love to do it, and we'll see you this weekend.
There we go. Chad Finchum joining us here on the show. Time's thin, but I wanted to talk to him about Kingsport as well, because he won the season opener there, but didn't show up at week number 2. Wanted to know what his schedule was.
Yeah, in between the K&N races, will he still Kingsport and Lonesome Pine, two of the tracks that he would take advantage of. Yeah, but
he has some other obligations as well, and we're going to talk to one of those drivers that have never raced on Bristol before. Should be a fun interview coming up with J.A. Jr. He'll join us after the break, but first let's take a moment and get to know the 2015 NASCAR K&N Pro Series West champion, Bill McAnally Racing driver Chris Eggleston. What's your favorite place on earth?
Oh man, probably the race shop. Just kind of get in the zone and be away from all stress, and just kind of get digging into the race cars and kind of get your mind off of things. I'd definitely say the race shop probably.
One goal that you would like to accomplish in life?
Man, there's just so many, and I got to pick one. I would definitely love to be a Sprint Cup champion here before my time is up, and that would probably be the best goal that I could ever have.
If you could eliminate one thing from your daily schedule, what would it be and why?
Man, I'd eliminate work. Oh, man, it takes up a lot of time, 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours out of the week, and still race full-time. have a family at home. That would free up a lot of time and enable me to work on more race cars and do some more racing. So I think that would be a common answer for everybody to get rid of that if they can somehow find a way to make a living racing full time. But it's so hard at this level. But we'll keep plugging away and reaching for those goals.
If you could read one person's mind, who would it be?
That'd be my wife. Probably save a few arguments leading into that deal. So if I can read anybody, well, on the other hand, that probably wouldn't be a great idea because sometimes you don't want to know. But we'll go with my wife, that's for sure.
Have you ever locked yourself out of your house?
Oh yeah, many times. Well, I remember when I was little, had my cousin sneak me through the window because I was the only one that could fit. Thank goodness we didn't have to break any doors down or anything like that. Got locked out of my hotel room out of all things last night, so I guess that's a common theme for me.
If you were to change your name, what would it be?
So, it would have to be something racing, I guess. I have 2 cats at home, and of course they have to have racing names. I named my first cat Sunoco for Sunoco Race Fuel, and my second cat Holly. She's a girl for Holly Racing Carburetors. I don't know, something about Sunoco sticks. I think that's pretty unique, and I think I'd call myself Sunoco.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
O'Reilly.
If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
MRN On Demand. Listen or watch when you want and where you want. Find all of MRN's original programs in the Media Center at MRN.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Race Day Nation on iHeartRadio. Find NASCAR Live, Motorsports Monday, Winged Nation, NASCAR Coast to Coast, Pod Tracks, Sling and Dirt, The Inside Line, and The Straight Line. Motorsports programs when you want, where you want. MRN On Demand.
Motor Racing Network has always been your source for motorsports coverage when you couldn't be at the track. Now, never miss another minute of our breathtaking coverage with the MRN app, available on your iPhone or Android device. This free app delivers all the latest news, locates nearby MRN stations, streams your favorite programs, and is your home for live Sprint Cup practice and qualifying action. Search MRN in the App Store or on Google Play. It's the Motor Racing Network at your fingertips, and it's available for free right now.
This is NASCAR K&N East Series driver J.A. Jr., and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to you, Kyle and Buddy.
What are the odds?
Did he do that live?
No,
people didn't see he did that live.
That sounded really good. I thought it was going to sound like really, really bad, but it sounded really good.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the chances of that particular one coming up, unless Craig did it purposely? He says no.
Yeah. Do you want to do it off the top of your head? Could you do it right now if you had to?
No.
If the pressure was on?
I really
Could you?
don't.
Could you?
I
Couldn't?
really no.
All right.
Welcome,
we'll let you slide.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. J.A. Jr. joins us now. Jairo Avila.
Yes, sir.
Right?
You got it right.
All right, we're getting
I'll
it.
give you a high five for that. That's really good. I'm proud of you for that.
I appreciate that.
That's your homework now.
Yeah.
Yes, get my name right.
It only took 2 races. 3 races.
3 races.
Three races.
Yeah.
Rev Racing for 2016, your first go-around here in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East full-time. How's it been going for you so far?
It's been really good. I can't thank the opportunities that Rev Racing and Max Ego and everybody involved giving me the opportunity to race an East Series full season. And it's been really good. You know, we've just been struggling a little bit with me and Mark. I mean, we've been learning each other a lot. And then I think Greenville Pickens, we had a good car, you know, finished 11th, I think it was. But yeah, I mean, Bristol, we have a good feel for it. You know, we're starting to connect one another and stuff. He knows what I want in the car now and stuff. So I think we'll be really good.
But you have progressively improved from New Smyrna. I mean, that was the very first race for you this year. I think it was 23rd, 15th to roughly 11th. I mean, each race, it looks like things are getting better and better, that learning curve is getting there. And you have a lot of tracks that you've never been to before, so that's a major challenge.
If you look at the qualifying efforts, we qualified 7th at New Smyrna. We really thought we had a top 5 car for that. Issues happened that weren't in my way. We did some stuff that we weren't supposed to do for the race. and that cost us. Mobile, that was another one that we qualified really good, and we got a lap down and came back and finished 15th. And then Greenville was kind of like the first race that everything kind of just went smooth. Ran out of top 8 first half, and then kind of slipped in the second half, but I still got a good run out of it. So,
for those that don't know the name, J.A. Jr., kind of, bring us up to date on kind of your background and how you got to where you are now with Rev Racing, how you got started in motorsports.
Well, I started racing when I was 5 years old, like every other kid in racing, racing go-karts. Grew up in California, Alhambra, California. It's a little small town right beside Pasadena. That's why I usually just say I'm from Pasadena.
Sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah, it sounds a whole lot cooler than the Rose Bowl. So, yeah, I just grew up in Alhambra, and I went to school down there. And yeah, my dad had a few buddies that their kids raced, and then I really like race cars and the toys. Like I see a bunch of toys over there. I'm like, I want to grab them.
All right, Kyle, go pick one.
They're collectibles.
But no, I mean, I went to Riverside, Adams Kart Track down in Riverside, and did a few classes there, and then it just started going it started as a fun activity that me and my dad wanted to do as kids, and kind of progressed that I wanted to take it seriously and stuff. So, and I'm here now.
You mentioned Mark, which is Mark Green, your crew chief, has been with Rev Racing for a little bit.
He's awesome.
And you guys, he's a tremendous guy. We've had some dealings in karting and in NASCAR racing with him. It's been fantastic. What, other than just gelling with Mark, has been the biggest learning curve for you in just a short period of time?
His sarcasm.
His sarcasm. All right.
He has the best sarcasm I ever worked with somebody more awesome than him. Yeah, we bought off the racetracks. He takes me to his house, shows me all the go-karts and race cars that he has. He just bought a new trailer. He's like, so when are you going to come over and look at my new trailer? I'm like, well, you haven't told me yet. So, no, I mean, it's been fun working with Mark. It kind of sucks that I haven't been able to give him the finishes that he deserves and stuff like that. It's a really good winning combination, and me and him could do a lot of things in the future.
Talk about the program you have this weekend. You guys have teamed up with the Autism Society of East Tennessee. You're going to, I guess, present the rear bumper cover to the society at the end of the race on Saturday.
I think it was going to do it right before the race.
All right, right before the race?
Yeah,
you don't need bumpers at Bristol anyway.
Yeah.
Did he get one of those collectibles when we weren't looking?
He might have.
Did he? Okay.
No, it's off the rear bumper of my car. I think it's right after Mobile that we got it. I brought it back to the shop, and then I decided it was kind of torn up anyway, so it was like, we should just rip it and do it something good with it and stuff like that. So I got everybody from the shop, Mark Green, all the drivers, Jefferson, just to sign it and do like a little cool giveaway. And then me and my PR started working with something like that, and then she came up with Autism. So she teamed up with Autism of East Tennessee and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It kind of worked out pretty neat. So it's really nice to be part of good things like this and stuff like that. Give back to the kids that don't. Kind of sucks for them, and it makes me feel really blessed. And then to how I was raised and be normal and stuff like that. So it's a good, heartwarming to give something nice to these kids and stuff like that. So I told her so.
You talk about how you were raised, and I think it kind of goes, it steers me in the direction of the next question. Got to see a New Smyrna, got to see a Greenville Pickens. It just appears, and there's so many great kids that are running this series right now, so many great personalities. We got a chance to spend more time with them at Greenville Pickens, but there's something about you that brings an added level of energy into that pit area, to the garage area. You just see the fire, the passion, and the love in your eyes, and you just have that. Well, you have the look on the face like you're up to something. You've done something to somebody, but it seems like a lot of people just beg off of you just for just the great personality that you have. I shouldn't say beg off of you. I think they're attracted to you for what you do. You bring an energy that they want to have when you come to a racetrack. It's just incredible.
Thank you so much. No, I just got to thank it to all my parents. I've been really blessed that everything they've given me in the past and me growing up and stuff. So I really get all that energy. If my dad was here, it would have been like 100%, a lot more. But I usually get all the energy off of him and stuff like that. He always tells me, doesn't matter the situation, if it's good or bad, always take the positive and then make a good situation.
You got a bunch of teammates over at Rev Racing this
It's only
year.
4. It ain't bad.
Well,
we're not Hendrick.
Then you got 4, but then you have 2 more in the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series. Maddie Crane has just joined the program from her.
They had a really
racing.
good run this weekend.
They both in the top 10.
Really did. I was proud of them.
On Saturday night. How much have you been able to, especially Colin Cabry, who has been in the series now for well,
2
I guess
years.
a year and a half,
Oh,
2
yeah.
years. But he won last year at Dover,
Mm-hmm.
and he has seen all these places or most of these racetracks before and has adapted to these heavier cars. How much have you been able to kind of lean on him coming into some of these weekends?
If he had an extra room at his house, I've probably been stepping over there, asking him, just bugging him for information and stuff like that. But he's been a really help to our team. Every track we go to, he was giving us information that's more information that we need to know, but it helps a lot. And I mean, everybody, Maddie, oh my God, Maddie, Allie, there you go. Everybody just done great. I mean, it's that combination of crew chiefs and driver, learning what we want in the car and stuff like that. So I think that's been the really big key of of progressing and stuff like that. So I think once everybody gets it, we'll be pretty strong.
What's a typical day for you? I mean, when you go into the race shop, how deeply involved do you get with the inner workings of a car?
My hands aren't black right now. But
well, I was taking out the trash. Mark made you. He was sarcastic. Take out the trash.
When I come here for you guys. So
Okay.
I haven't even had my boots on for you guys. So no, I mean, I walk in there. We go to the gym from 8 to 10. Right after we go on the. Everybody kind of does their own thing, but I'm usually on the car working. Mark tells me what to do, and I'm like another guy just working on the car and try to progress and make it to the big leagues.
Going to a racetrack for the first time, which is going to happen a lot this year, and it has already happened 3 times, I believe. What's that first practice session like? Going to Bristol on Saturday night, how long will it take you to kind of get not used to the racetrack, but at least know where your breaking points are, and what do you use that first 45 minutes to kind of learn and gear up for qualifying, which will be later that evening?
Yeah, usually I'll probably do like 2 or 3 laps, just kind of get the feel for the car, and then come back in, discuss what was wrong, and then go back out, follow like Tyler Dipple and any of the fast guys, and try to pick off of them and stuff like that. That's usually what I kind of do when I go to a new track. So it's been helping a lot. I pick up on tracks pretty quick, so that's a good thing. So, I mean, we're looking for my goal for this weekend, hopefully a top 10 run. Like, just keep progressing and stuff like that. Just keep getting more information that we can, and just have a good, strong run.
And so far, parity has been the rule of the day, just the theme for this series the past couple years. Whether it be Dylan Kwasniewski, whether it be Ben Rhodes, William Byron. You've had that driver that's really got on a streak, but this year there really doesn't yet seem to be one clear-cut driver that can take this series by the horns, and I'm not sure if there really is, and I say that respectfully of the series because it seems like it is so evenly matched. And when you look at the youth, the average age, it's very impressive when you see so many young drivers out there keeping their equipment good, working in a lot of racetracks that are very abrasive, learning tire management and how to keep that car underneath of you for the end. It's just been a very impressive deal.
It makes me feel old. I'm only 20 years old, and there's 16 and 15-year-old kids.
Crazy, isn't it?
My God.
How do you think we feel?
I was a freshman when I was 15 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
So, no, you're right. And it's you can see with a lot of success that Todd Gilliland's had and with his dad helping him a lot. So I think that's why he's been winning all the races and stuff like that. Like, he just got the win at Curran a couple weeks ago and stuff. So, I mean, the combination of crew chief and driver, it's really important in the series. And you can see in the Cup Series or trucks or anywhere.
So far, that's all he's done in the series is win. Todd Gilliland, 4 for 4.
He's kind of spoiling it for him.
Yeah, you're going to make history this weekend? You're going to be the one that breaks that streak?
If I do, I'll be coming back here, hopefully.
Yes, you will.
Indeed. Off the racetrack, I know in the past Rev has had simulators or iRacing or all of that stuff. Do you guys, are you able to use those tools to kind of prepare for a race weekend, maybe video from the past years as far as before you even get to the racetrack tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, or what will you do to kind of gear up for a race weekend?
When I left, everybody's kind of on it right now, but 2 weeks before that, we're on Formula One cars and messing around, crashing each other. But no, that really helps a lot. I mean, it's iRacing, but you can't really feel the car, but you can gives you an idea where to hit your marks and stuff like that. The only one that's been there was last year was Rob Rubin. So he raced Xfinity. I think he kind of crashed out towards the end, but he was running really good. So I've been kind of picking off of him for information, and he's been really good to me. We've been really good buddies. He's kind of my Mexican brother. So he just got back from Mexico. He had a really good run back home. So I was kind of glad for him.
And a really exciting schedule this year. When you look at the mix of the short tracks that are very abrasive that you've been to already, in a New Smyrna, to Greenville Pickens, to Mobile, which was new on the schedule this year, the road courses that you have, the high banks of Bristol. What a great variety for you guys this season.
I'm excited for VRR. I'm gonna be tearing it up out there, just throwing some dust and.
Hey, they all tore it up last year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, who's gonna lead this lap?
Maybe like something in the backwoods or something. So.
How much road racing experience do you have?
Oh, I'm really good.
I mean, you did all the karting stuff, but
legend cars, and stuff like that. So I'm really excited.
Cool.
I told Mark if I'm not first, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you.
All right. Well, JAA, as always, thanks for stopping by. Can't wait to see you this weekend at the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's gonna be fun.
Of course, guys. Anytime. Thank you for everybody listening, and hope you have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in.
Absolutely.
Of course.
J.A. Jr. joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Busy race weekend. This past weekend, there were some short tracks that actually got their race program in.
Yeah, actually, Greenville Pickens, one of the tracks, they returned to action with twin 75s for their late model stocks. Chase Purdy and Trey Gibson, they've been the two winners so far this year. They came away with the twin wins this weekend.
Colorado National Speedway in Tacona, Colorado opened up shop. Brett Yackey took down the race win, holding off Ethan Penrod to claim his first late model win in a couple of years. Adam Dennis took the win in Pro Trucks. Their next event will be this week, and the return of the super late models over there.
We mentioned South Boston Speedway had twin 75s, 28 cars. I am just so impressed with their car count so far. Austin Thaxton took race number 1, Matt Bowling race number 2. They will be back in action this weekend with a 100-lapper, so back to business.
Lebanon I-44 Speedway in Missouri in action. Brian Brown took the late model feature win again, while Chris Johnson won in the modifieds. They're back in action with their 5 classes this Saturday night.
New Smyrna finally beat Mother Nature after 3 consecutive weeks of rain. They finally got a super late model race in the books. David Rogers, the defending champ, came away with a win over Brad May and Rich Klauser. The pro late models will be back in action this Saturday.
Salina High Bank Speedway in Pryor, Oklahoma, back in action. Tyler Wolf won the A-Mod feature over Thomas Tillison Jr. Caden Weaver won in the B-Mods. Their next event is also this Saturday night as they get into the meat of their season.
Southern National Motorsports Park in Kinley, North Carolina. Twin races open their season. Good field of 18 cars with Chris Chapman and Tyler Matthews splitting the twin bill. They'll be back in action for twin 50s coming up on April the 30th.
You mentioned Anderson yet? No, they were off last
weekend.
They were. And they'll be back in action on Friday, April 22nd, because they are off this weekend as well. As far as rainouts or snowouts.
There's one I want to ask you about right there at the top of that page.
Thompson Speedway Motorsports
I heard it
Park?
was sibling day, but I heard the siblings didn't get along too good.
In the late model feature, they took each other out.
That's what I heard. Speaking of.
Keith Rocco.
Yeah. But Rocco did get the Sunoco mod win over the weekend at Thompson.
And his twin brother, Jeff, battling for the lead. Yeah. 2 brand new race cars. They look brand new. Start of the season. Backed it into the outside wall. Both cars destroyed while battling for the top spot.
Teddy Christopher was second on, what was it? Was that race Sunday or was that Saturday?
That was Sunday.
Sunoco mods.
Modifieds, the local modifieds there.
Ronnie Williams was third, May 18th, their next scheduled race for the Sunoco mods, but they did add some more races to their schedule this year, right?
Yeah, 6 races a year ago, 10 this year, and of course it'll all wrap up with the World Series of Speedway Racing at the end of the season at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. We mentioned a lot of the rainouts and snowouts and cold outs earlier in the show. There's a lot more season openers this week, 14 of them. All-American Speedway will try it again in California. Orange Show Speedway will try it again. Magic Valley Speedway in Idaho will open up, along with Meridian Speedway in Idaho. Rockford Speedway in Illinois. Adams County Speedway in Iowa. Berlin Raceway, they're going to hold the Icebreaker this weekend. I'm kind of
it'll be cold up in Michigan, too, I'm sure.
Figure out where they got that name from. Utica Rome Speedway in New York. East Carolina Speedway here in North Carolina. Columbus Motor Speedway in Ohio, along with Limaland. Is it Limaland? Limaland. I've heard both.
It's Limaland Motorsports Park, and I hear in
Lima, Ohio.
Lima, yeah.
It is Lima. All right. Lonesome Pine Speedway is going to open up this week, take 2 after raining out last week, along with Motor Mile and Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin. So a lot going on here in short track racing.
Should be a busy weekend, and hopefully Mother Nature will finally say, okay, I'm going to take a weekend off. Go ahead, race. We're going to give these boys a lot to talk about next week.
He's got something. What do you got?
How does it look for Bristol?
Bristol, fine. Good. You're good. We already got your book for next week on the show. You've already won. Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining us on the show this weekend. Of course, NASCAR Modified star Timmy Solomito picking up his first career win at the Icebreaker. Chad Finchum, who will be in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race, along with J.A. Jr. from Rev Racing. Buddy, it's been fun. Another fast hour.
It has. Good luck, bud.
Thank you.
Want to thank Craig Moore and Robbie Mays joining us in the behind the scenes. I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.